Stories, I am a resident of Puri district of Orissa. I love listening to your stories. And today, I am also going to tell you one of my stories. My name is Kana. The shadow of ghosts has been following me since childhood. That is why my parents are always worried. But then, one day, a Baba gave me a talisman and told me to never take it off from my neck. After that, I started living completely fine. But then again, this happened when I was studying in my college in Bhubaneswar. That day, we were talking about a cultural program for the annual day of the college. It got so late while talking that we did not realize the time. Then we got up from there and went to sleep. I also came to my room and I went to the bathroom to freshen up. But when I turned on my tap in the bathroom, suddenly some drops fell on the floor. I slowly looked and saw that drops of blood had fallen there. I quickly looked upwards, but there was nothing. I thought maybe tomato ketchup might have fallen. I had just turned around when I saw those drops of blood falling again. Then I remembered that I had kept my talisman outside on the bed. I started feeling scared. At that very moment, I shouted loudly and called out to my friends. Then both my roommates came there and left me near my bed and went to the bathroom to check. But as soon as they stepped into the bathroom, the light went off. I sat there shivering. Both of them were about to turn on the torch of their phones when something suddenly passed over their heads. They quickly looked up, but could not see anything. But suddenly, there was a shouting sound from the washroom. Both of them closed the bathroom door at the same time and came and sat near me. By then, it was 1 o'clock in the night. Then, suddenly, they came together from the road in front. The sound of crying of 10, 12 dogs started coming. All three of us got very scared. Then, we applied vermilion of Hanumanji, and all three slept on the same bed. That night was very scary for me. After that night, I never wore that amulet around my neck again. Didn't take it out. My name is Amit Sharma. I am a resident of Jaipur, Rajasthan. Till the age of 15, I did not believe in things like ghosts at all. But as soon as I turned 16, I started believing in all these things. My aunt's in-laws' house. I was in a village in Nagar district. I cannot tell you the name of the village, but my aunt used to live in the village at that time. It was about 1996. In those days, there was very little light in the village. Everyone in the village was at 8 o'clock. They used to go to sleep after eating till 8 p.m. The atmosphere of the entire village became absolutely haunted. The people of the village also did not think it right to go out after 8 p.m. Also, the people of the village used to get up early in the morning. My aunt also used to wake up early in the morning. She used to get up and start doing household work. So one day, Aunt woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, did not realize the time, and went straight to her field to work. But when she reached her field, she saw that the banyan tree near the adjacent field was shaking strangely. But the aunt did not pay much attention and started doing her work. But then, after some time, she felt the need to go to the toilet, so she went near the same banyan tree. She went to the toilet and then finished her farm work and went back home. Nothing strange happened to her that day, but the very next day she got high fever, and then she took medicine for the fever, and she got cured. Many years passed like this, but then after 5 years, once she had come to her parents' house. This would be around September or October 2001. Navratri time was going on. My aunt used to go every day to listen to Devi Bhagwat Katha. On the first day when she was there, everything is gone. Things went well, but the next day when she went, her health started deteriorating. As soon as she heard the Pagwat Katha, she started doing strange things. A sound was coming, as if two women were talking together. She was saying that I will take him with me. Have I harmed anyone? Why are you troubling me? Having said this, she started hurting herself. She was not able to control herself. Then people quickly sprinkled Ganga water on her, and she became unconscious there. Somehow she was brought home in an unconscious state. But then, as the night approached, she again started doing strange acts. Her condition was like this. Seeing this, their children got very scared. But then, as the night approached, she started doing strange acts again. She was showing everyone her big eyes. Somehow, Uncle G calmed her down. The next day, Uncle G took Auntie to a pandit. They took them to a person who lived 3 kilometers away from their house. But as soon as they reached there, the aunt started doing strange things again. There was a big, unbroken flame at that place. As soon as the aunt was brought in front of that flame, she became unconscious there. But then, after regaining consciousness, Pandit Ji asked through mantras that who are you and why have you come here? Then the soul inside him told that my name is Kamla. She had urinated under my tree, so I came with her. But it was not causing any harm. But as soon as I heard Devi Bhagwat Katha, I started feeling troubled. I wanted to take it with me, but some unknown power forced me to come out. Then, Pandit Ji told him that you should come out of this. And then through Havan, they took away his soul. Then he gave Aunt a talisman tied with mantras, and also gave her water with mantras to drink. And after a week, my aunt got completely cured. After 6 years, one day, my uncle, she died in an accident, but that amulet is still tied on my aunt's hand. Today, my aunt has turned 69 years old. Today, all her grandchildren are washing clothes, but even at this age, she's absolutely healthy. I have taken this entire incident as my own. I saw it with my own eyes, and even today, I remember everything very well. Today, I am 38 years old, but that incident still scares me. My name is Ankita, and I am a resident of Asansol, West Bengal. Today, I am going to share with you my very secret story about which I try to forget a lot, but cannot forget. Before telling my point, let me tell you that in my family, there is only me, my father, and my brother, who is 1 year younger than me. When I was very young, my mother died. I was just 8 years old. In those days, we had shifted to a new house, and at that time, my grandmother also lived with us. When my father went to see that house, he saw a well in front of the house which was dry. Then, when father went inside the house, everything was fine, but then he saw a well in the house. A dry well was also seen at the backside, but Papa did not pay attention and started checking the rooms of the house. But while looking at the rooms, Papa noticed that inside one of the rooms, there was a very lonely feeling in that room. There was something like a pitch-black darkness inside, and they felt as if someone was watching them from within that darkness. But Papa still did not think much about it and bought that house. But when Papa came out of that house, the people around there were looking at him strangely. One of them came to Papa and told him that he should not take this house. This house is not good. Many people came to live here, but could not stay for long. But still, Papa didn't pay heed to anyone's advice and bought that house. Then, a few days later, Father went there with some electricians for electrical work. While doing so, one of the electricians suddenly came out of the house shouting and started saying that I will not work here. Nothing is right here. And shouting all this, he ran away from there. But despite all this, Papa, I did not leave that house. And after a few days, we shifted there. The first few months passed very well, but all those things had just started. There were daily fights between my father and grandmother. I don't know from where snakes and scorpions used to come out of the house on small things at any time. One day in the evening, my father started smelling a very foul smell coming from the house, like it comes from a dead body. When my father even told my grandmother, grandmother said that she too was smelling. Papa started checking the whole house to see where the smell was coming from. But it seemed as if the smell was hovering around them. Finally, the smell was in our inner room where there was a cupboard in one corner. My grandmother started coming from there. My grandmother spit there 3 times, after which the smell stopped. One day, my grandmother was not at home. She had gone to my aunt's house, which was 2 hours away from our house. It seemed that father had also gone to the office. The time would be around 7. 8 p.m., grandmother had not reached home. Father was also supposed to come by 10 o'clock. Both of us, brother and sister, were sitting on the bed in the inner room, watching TV. Then I saw something at the corner of the door. A strange thing was seen looking at us. I don't know if it was my illusion or what, but I could see it clearly from the corner of my eye. It was completely black. It had 2 horns on its head. The one who was leaning towards the front had big red eyes, and as soon as he saw me, he was smiling strangely, and while smiling, blood was coming out of his mouth. On seeing him, I lost my life immediately, but when I looked carefully at him and saw that there was no one there, I did not react anything at that time. But then at 10 o'clock when my father came, I started crying, hugging him, and told him the whole thing. Papa did not say anything. He just calmed me down and said that you should not watch all these scary films. Whenever my grandmother was at home, nothing ever happened. But whenever she went out, we started getting a strange feeling. It always felt as if someone was watching us. We used to feel very heavy in that house all the time. There was a strange cold all the time. The doors would automatically open at any time so that a person could easily go out. Similarly, another day my grandmother had gone somewhere and Papa was in the office. I and my brother were playing games on mobile in the evening. This was in 2013. At that time, we had only one phone, which Papa had given me after that incident, so that if something like this ever happens again, I would call him. Now I can tell you, both of us were playing games on the phone when suddenly my brother started getting scared. He was very scared and was not even saying anything. Then, when I asked a lot, he told that he felt as if something was coming from the corner of the door. I too got scared after hearing that someone was peeping towards us, but I avoided his words and started making fun of him so that he would not get scared. We did not tell anyone about this again. The days passed by slowly. Now my grandmother started living in my aunt's house. Now only I, my father, and brother lived in the house. We both were very young at that time, so my father left the office. When he used to come at 6 o'clock in the evening, we used to take both of them with us for a walk, and then we used to come back home at 10 o'clock. Similarly, one day, we were all sitting in the outside room watching TV Until then, we had packed all our belongings, like the TV, bed, etc., were removed from the inner room and shifted to the outer room. All three of us were laughing and joking while watching TV. My brother was sitting on the floor below, and we both were sitting on the bed, when suddenly he got scared. Papa came and sat near us on the bed. When I started asking her, she said that someone was watching us from the corner of the door. But after listening to her, Papa remained silent and just kept calming her. After all this had passed, once again he appeared to me. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. Papa picked us both up for a morning walk, so I said that I will not go. I don't feel like going. I was sleeping. I thought that my grandmother was at home and was in the other room. Thinking this, I told my father that you all go away. I will not go. But after 5 minutes of his leaving, I was feeling real life. And then I saw a glimpse of him coming towards me. I saw him completely in a single glimpse. His feet, his same face, his chest on the front, his red eyes, the blood coming out of his mouth, that scary laugh of his. I quickly called my father and called him while crying. Then Father quickly came back. When Father came back, I told him everything, but what could he do? He just somehow silenced me and took me out for a walk. Then, after a few days, one day again, when my brother and I were alone at home, we were sitting on the bed playing something. At that time, it was 11 o'clock in the day, and the door of the inner room was half open. Then the light went off, and suddenly, the whole atmosphere became quiet, but both of us remained engaged in our game. We both were sitting facing the opposite direction from that door. I took a look there to reassure myself that everything was fine, but the room was so dark that it would be scary for a child. I still ignored him and started talking to my brother. Now both of us were talking. Then suddenly, there came a very loud sound. "What are you guys doing?" That voice was exactly like that of my grandmother. Exactly the same to the same. I still remember that voice and that scene very well. I calmed down completely. I told my brother. I also did not say anything. But then, after a few seconds, my brother said that he had just heard grandmother's voice, as if grandmother was saying, "What are you guys doing?" I ignored him without saying anything and started talking about something else. And then, after some time, everything became normal. Such things used to happen in that house, not only with us, but also with those who came to stay in our house, like my aunt, etc. Once my aunt, when she came to our place, she saw a man through whom she could see. She saw that man twice, once inside the house and once outside. Similarly, whenever my father was alone at home, he used to feel very strange things. Once, Father was watching TV, when suddenly everything in the TV started becoming black and white. He could not understand anything, and then the wire of the TV started burning. As soon as they saw it, the entire wire caught fire. But after some time, everything became normal. The TV started working on its own. That wire was also completely normal, as if nothing had happened. Many times bulbs, etc., burst like this. There used to be a very loud noise, but when we went and looked, everything was fine. It seemed as if whatever it was just wanted to scare us and wanted us to leave that house and wanted us to leave that house as well. I want to tell you that my father's zodiac sign is very heavy, so he never saw anything, nor did he get scared easily. But the zodiac sign of both of us siblings is very light, and we both were small children then, so he was very heavy on us. He was becoming so thin that he had become so thin as if he had not had food for many days. He was always ill. Then, one day, my father went to a very good Baba he knew and told him the whole story. Baba asked him to give something like a small, I filled it in a cloth, and gave it to my father, and told him to tie it in all the corners of the house. Papa did the same. After that, we never saw anything like this. Our health also started getting better, but the doors started opening on their own and were always visible. This still happened, but now we got used to all these things. Then, in 2016, we left that house. After a few years, one day, when we were talking about this, my brother, he told me what he had seen there, and after listening to him, I got very scared, because he also described the exact same appearance of that devil whom I had seen twice. I thought it was my illusion. But how could it be that my brother, he also saw the same thing that I had seen, even though we both had never told each other what he looked like before? I know a little drawing, so I made a picture of it to show everyone. My brother was very surprised to see that picture. He got scared and told that he had seen the same thing, and even everyone in my house got scared after seeing that picture. My brother scratched that picture completely with a pen and tore it and threw it away. Even today, many times it is talked about. But after he left home, nothing like this ever happened to us. I console myself that it was just my illusion and a trick of the eyes. But then I'm forced to think that what if it was an illusion? So how can two people have such an illusion together? And what was the meaning of that voice that came from my grandmother? We lived in that house for 5 years, but those 5 years spent in that house were the most dreadful time of my life, which I will always remember. My name is Ashish. I live in Kolkata. I listen to your stories every day before sleeping. Today, I also want to share a very terrible experience with you. There's a small village named Manikpur on the banks of Ganga, just a few kilometers away from Kolkata. And I have an uncle who lives in the same village. All this happened at his place. It was 1999. I had gone to Manikpur to spend my summer holidays. My uncle is a well-known doctor there, and his clinic is a little away from the village. And my cousin Rajji used to go every day in the evening to give food to Uncle. So one evening, after giving food to Uncle, both of us were returning home. That day, while returning home after giving food to Uncle, we met him around 10 in the night. I and my cousin are very good friends and are very close to each other. We had a small bicycle, and we used to ride on it and used to come and go here and there and have fun, laughing and joking. We were going home cycling slowly. My cousin was riding the cycle, and I was sitting behind. Let me tell you that in those days, fridges or refrigerators were not so common here. We had heard that an uncle in Pasi sells cold water at ours. It was very hot that day, so we thought that we will go there and drink some cold water and then go home. My cousin also got ready. After some time, we reached that place, and after drinking cold water, we started going back home. It was getting very late. We thought that if we go through this route, it would be too late on the way home. So we left the main road and got down on an unpaved road. This road used to go through the banks of Ganga. Now we reached that unpaved road. Both of us had reached some distance from the road when suddenly we heard the sound of some women crying. That crying sound was very scary, as if 12 women were crying together. We both were small, and that area was completely deserted. soon as we heard the sound, both of us got very scared. Now, both of us had gone a little further, and at some distance on the banks of Ganga, where the dead bodies are burnt, a woman wearing a white sari was sitting on the bank of a pit and was crying even in the night. She was shining exactly like radium, but despite so much brightness, we could not see her face, and suddenly, the woman started looking towards us. The woman's face was completely scorched, and big teeth were coming out of her mouth. As soon as we saw this, both of us got so scared that we threw the bicycle there and started running away with all our might, chanting the name of God and running away. We did not even know when we reached home, but even after reaching home, we did not tell anyone anything. Auntie also asked why we were so nervous, but we did not tell anything. But the next morning, when our fear subsided a little, we told everything to Auntie. Then Auntie asked a man who used to do cleaning work in the same cremation ground. My name is Sanchit Mihar. I am from Haryana. I want to tell you about a true incident which happened just 6 months ago. The thing is that my uncle has 3 daughters, and all 3 of them are married. The eldest girl had come to her house on Raksha Bandhan. My house is a little far from my uncle's house, so when she came to our house to tie Rakhi, I saw that she was wearing everything black from top to bottom, like black sari, black slippers, black lipstick, everything black. Then, after tying Rakhi, when she was going back from the street, she encountered a slight stumble, which she did not even notice. She had to go back to her in-laws on the same day, so after reaching her home, she went straight to her in-laws. But as soon as he reached his in-laws' house, he started having severe pain in his hands and legs. Within a short time, his condition became very bad, so he was quickly taken to the hospital. The doctor tried hard all night, but could not save him. He died the very next day. On the 3rd day of his death, when everyone was celebrating, one of his sister-in-laws, who worshipped Kali, came to his house. But as soon as he came there, his sister-in-law suddenly became possessed by Kali Mata. She told that it was she who had killed her, because for a few days earlier, he had attacked me by taking my form. How could I have left him? Everyone said, "Mother, you could have made him sick or dropped him there. Why did you kill him?" But Kali Mata did not agree. Kali Mata told that if his sister-in-law had reached on time that night, so I couldn't kill it. In fact, that day when my sister stumbled upon it in the street, there's a small Mata place in the street, which can be seen only if you look carefully. Mother also told that someone had dropped me there, and he stabbed me, so I took his life. My name is Akash. I have already told you one of my true stories. Today, I'm going to tell you about another true incident that happened to me. This is in the year 2021. In those days, I was very interested in things like ghosts and spirits. Whenever someone talked about ghosts or told a story, I used to listen very carefully. We lived in a village, so once it happened that some guests were going to come to our house in the village, but they did not know the way to our house inside the village. I knew that they had to come at around 9 o'clock in the night, so I went outside the village to pick them up and started waiting for their arrival. But they called my father at home and refused to come, saying that he would not be able to come today. But father forgot to tell me this. I was sitting alone outside the village. It was 11:30 at night. I was sitting in front of a shop. After some time, the shop owner also closed his shop. I did it and went away while sitting. Now it was 12 o'clock. I felt that no one is going to come now, so I also got up to go home. Also, let me tell you that I believe in Hanumanji a lot, and fast on Hanumanji every Tuesday. Now, I had just got up to go home when someone came to me. I could not see his face, but he told me that you want to see a ghost. I said yes. I am very interested in seeing ghosts. Then he said come, and then I walked with him and went about 1 kilometer away. After going this far, he said, hold my hand, and no matter what happens, don't leave my hand. Even if someone calls you by voice, don't look back. I said, okay, let's keep going. A blackberry tree came, and after crossing it, suddenly from nowhere, many black shadows started emerging from around me. Some were crying, some were laughing, some were children, some were women, some were calling from behind. When I looked at them, when he was walking with me, he was walking as if it did not matter to him. After walking a short distance, he stopped. By then, I was drenched in sweat due to fear. Then he said that about all these things. Whatever you keep thinking about, stop thinking about these things. There's a lot of danger in all these things. I then understood that what he wanted to say was that I should stop thinking about all the ghosts that I keep thinking. Once at night, I had also thought of going to see the ghost, but could not go. Then he came back to my village, holding my hand. After reaching the village, he said that you go ahead. I will follow you. I obeyed him and kept moving ahead silently. At that time, I was completely lost. After some time, I reached my home while walking, but when I reached home, I saw him, and he was not there. Papa asked, where were you? I did not say anything. I just quietly went to my bed. But after coming and sleeping, the next day I got fever, but I got well soon. From that day, I started believing in Hanumanji more and started worshiping him even more. I think it was Hanumanji who was there. Perhaps I got this feeling. Came to tell you that what you are doing is not good for you. What do you people think? Do tell me by commenting. I want to tell you a scary story which happened to my mother, grandmother, and maternal uncle. This happened about 13 years ago. It was 14 years ago. So what happened was that at that time, my maternal grandfather had given birth. After the death of my maternal grandfather, my grandmother started living with us in our house. Now, my grandmother's house was completely empty. Now, no one lived in that house, but then for a few months. After this, my Nani had to go back to her home due to some work. Nani had also taken my maternal uncle and my mother along with her. Actually, Nani had some work related to documents there, for which it was very important for Nani and maternal uncle to be there. Mother. She had also gone with them to take care of her grandmother. So when they reached home that night, it was already night, and there was no light in the house, so Mother cooked food in the lamp. And after having food, everyone lay down to sleep. There was darkness in the house, and there was only one lamp, so everyone was sleeping in the same room. But then, as soon as it was 12 o'clock in the night, the sound of someone walking started coming from the veranda outside the door of the house. Like Nanaji is walking there and crying. Hearing all this, all three of them got very scared. Now, no one was able to sleep, but no one had the courage to look up. Earlier, that sound was coming from outside only. But then he felt as if someone was sleeping on the empty bed next to him, on which Nanaji used to sleep earlier. And he was crying and making the same sound as Nana used to make when he was ill. Hearing all this, my grandmother and mother got very scared, but my uncle is very fearless. He tried to talk to Nana G and scolded him and tried to make him go away. But all this did not stop till 4 o'clock in the morning. All those voices kept coming. Then in the morning, after the sound of azan, all this stopped. They heard the sound of them going out, and after that, everything became completely quiet. My mother remained very scared the whole night. She was afraid that something untoward might happen, but Nana G did not harm anyone. Maybe he was there, only to protect those people. Came to make your presence felt. Friends, if you liked what I said, then do like it. If you have not subscribed to the channel, then subscribe. There are many more interesting stories like this in my channel. Do listen to them too, and thank you for listening to this story till here.